Okay, hi guys, and yeah, welcome back to another term of this online learning. I know it's not really what any of us want to be doing, but unfortunately we have to make do with what we've got. I hope you all had a good midterm, and all I want to say is just keep up those levels of engagement from last term because you guys were absolutely brilliant. Okay, so just keep up watching the videos, doing the homework, and that's it really. What I just wanted to focus on at the start before just touching on tiny thing to do with this little equation that we have here is just a little recap. So everybody was very good when it was just a 1y, a few issues when it was a 3y or a 2y. So what this formula does for us, we need the y on the left hand side and it has to be a positive 1y or else it doesn't work. It has to be a 1y as it is here. And when it's on the right hand side, the other two, the x and the number, we can tell the number in front of the x is going to give us the slope and the number tells us where it cuts the y-axis. But for these questions, we're just focusing on the slope. Okay? So what I'm going to do is do these examples and get you guys to have a couple of examples as well. So we've got a 2x plus y minus 4. Okay, so we want the y on the left hand side, so I can draw my y. And then I'm going to put the other things on the right hand side. So this 2x is positive, so when it goes to the other side of the equals, it becomes a negative 2x. This negative 4 will go to the other side of the equals and become a plus 4, okay? So then the slope is the number in front of the x. The number in front of this x is minus 2, so you include the negative sign as well. So my slope here is m equals minus 2. So these ones where the y is already a 1 and it's positive are very simple and everybody got that, okay? So just a quick recap. These ones are a little bit more complicated, but we'll go through it step by step, okay? So again, I want my y on the left-hand side and the other two things, the x and the number, on the right-hand side. So I'll write my minus 3y first is equal to. Now the 2x is going to go to the other side and it's going to become a minus 2x. The plus 7 goes to the other side and that becomes a minus 7. Now this is where it's a little bit more of an issue, okay? So it has to look like this equation up at the top. Y equals mx plus c. At the moment it doesn't because of the minus 3. So in order to get rid of that minus 3, what we do is we divide by minus 3. Okay, and then because of the equals, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. All that essentially means, and this might help some of you that were a little bit confused here, is that this guy goes over minus 3, this guy goes over minus 3, and the 7 goes over minus 3. So I'm dividing each term by minus 3. Okay, so I'll just change to blue because what happens then is that this minus 3 here and this minus 3 will cancel. And on the left hand side of the equals, it's going to leave me with just the y. Okay, and that's exactly what we want. So all I've done is I've divided each term by minus 3. So just be careful now. This is a minus 2x divided by a minus 3. So remember, two negative signs, whether multiplied or divided by, will give me a positive. And this will be 2 over 3x. And we'll have the same here. A minus 7 divided by a minus 3. So the two negatives will make it a positive, and it's a 7 over 3. So I know it's a little bit complicated looking, but it's not too difficult. And then you've got your y as just a positive 1y, so we can apply this little formula up at the top, and we've got the number in front of the x, which is a 2 over 3. So my slope then is just going to be 2 over 3, and that's going to be my final answer. Okay, So why don't you guys make sure that you pause the video and get this taken down, both examples, especially the one on the right, because this is the tough one, okay? And I'm going to chuck up a couple of examples for you to do now, okay? So I'll have to get out for a second and just go full screen. So why don't you have a go at these guys here, okay? So make sure to pause the video and I'm going to put the answers up now in a second. So for the first one, again, we've got a minus 4x plus y minus 9 equals 0. So we want the y on the left-hand side and the other two things on the right-hand side. So let's work this out, okay? So we have the y then on the left-hand side. The minus 4x goes to the other side and becomes a positive 4x. The minus 9 goes to the other side and becomes a positive 9, okay? Then we can apply this little formula up here. So the number in front of the x is the slope. The number in front of the x is 4. So m is equal to 4. Now this one, a little bit more complicated, but quite similar to the example, okay? So you've got a 3x minus 4y plus 2 equals 0. So follow the same rules. We want the minus 4y on the left-hand side and the 3x and the 2 on the right-hand side. But when the 3x goes over, it changes to a negative, and when the plus 2 goes over, it changes to a negative. So this is what we've got left with now. We want it to be just a y on the left-hand side. So in order to get rid of this minus 4, we're going to divide by minus 4. But because of the equals, what we do to one side, we must do to the other. So we're also going to divide by minus 4. So what this means is that this goes under minus 4, the minus 3x goes over minus 4, and the minus 2 goes over minus 4. From there, you'll be able to cancel out your minus 4s. Okay, so this cancels and this cancels. And that will then just leave us with a y. So what you'll be left with is something like this. So the two minus 4s, they cancel. You're left with a y on the left-hand side. So the negative 3 and the negative 4, the two negatives become a positive, and it's just 3 over 4x. Same here. The two negatives of the 2 and the 4 become positive, and it's 2 over 4. This could also be written as a half, but it's fine to leave it like that. So then it's the number in front of the x you're looking for, so your slope is 3 over 4. So make sure that you've got those taken down. So pause the video. There'll be maybe one or two questions similar to this in the homework, just for practice, okay? So the new little things that we're going to be looking at then is this. It's a bit more complicated, okay? So just going to get out and go full screen because it's easier for me to write on it. So what we've got is if the line 2x plus y minus 7 is parallel to the line 4x plus ky minus 3, find the value of k. So all you're going to do is do the exact same thing that we've been doing. Don't worry that there's a k there. We'll figure that out later. So let's just take first of all the one on the left, so the top one rather. So the 2x plus y minus 7 equals 0. So we're going to do the same thing. The y stays on the left hand side and the other numbers goes on the right hand side. This 2x goes to the right hand side, it becomes a minus 2x. This minus 7 goes to the right hand side, it becomes a plus 7. Then the slope is the number in front of the x, which is minus 2. Okay, so my slope here is minus 2. So that's going to help us later, because if two lines are parallel, what does it mean? It means that they have the same slope, okay? So now let's figure out this one. I know there's a k there, but just you're still going to apply the same principles. So we've got a 4x plus ky minus 3 equals 0. So again, I'm just going to leave my ky on the left-hand side. Sorry. And I'm going to put the other things on the right-hand side. So the 4x goes to the right-hand side and becomes a minus 4x. The minus 3 goes to the right-hand side and becomes a plus 3. So again, I want it to just be a y. So this k is just the number. In order to get rid of this k on the left hand side, all I need to do is divide by a k. So exactly like before, except instead of a number this time, it's just a letter. So what's going to happen on the right hand side is that I'm also going to divide by k. So what that means is that every term goes over k, like so. Okay, so that means I'm dividing the ky by k, I'm dividing the minus 4x by k, and I'm dividing the 3 by k. So what's going to happen then is the ky and the k, this k and this k cancel. And it's just going to leave me with a y on the left hand side. Then I'm going to have a minus 4 over k x. Well, we don't change this to a negative. This is negative to a positive because this k at the moment is positive. Okay, so it's going to stay as a minus 4 plus 3 over k. So the number in front of the x this time is minus 4 over k. So my slope is minus 4 over k. So what we know is that these two lines are parallel. So this slope here, so I'll just highlight it. We have this slope here and this slope here. They need to be the same, okay? If they're parallel, they have to be the same. So what this is saying is that minus 2 is equal to minus 4 over k. So think of just the right hand side. Minus 4 divided by a number gives me minus 2. What is that number? Minus 4 divided by what is equal to minus 2? Well, it's going to be minus 2 is equal to minus 4 divided by 2, isn't it? Minus 4 divided by 2 is going to give me minus 2. So that means, I'll just do it over here, that k has to be equal to 2. Okay, and that's going to be your final answer there. A little bit complicated, I know, but it's not too bad overall, okay? When they're parallel, you have to remember that they have the same slope. So this slope here has to be equal to this slope here. I'm going to go through another example where it's perpendicular. I just think I'm going to run out of time in this first video, so I'll just make that full screen again. So make sure that you take all this down, pause the video, and I'll see you guys in the second video where I'm going to go through one very similar, except they're going to be perpendicular. Okay? And then you're going to have a couple of questions for homework. So I'll see you in the second video.